All right, we are going to continue with our decimal work. Our big idea, remember, is knowing what numbers mean helps me to compare things and to solve problems. Today we're going to talk more about adding decimal numbers. However, before we do that, we're going to review place value, because a number of you seem to struggle with that when it came to what you learned from the last part of the unit. Remembering that this is the ones place, tenths, hundredths, thousandths, and you really just need to memorize those. So that may mean that you need to actually study and review. All right. When writing those decimal numbers in word form, if there is just a zero, we don't say zero and, we just say this entire number and the name of the last place value position. So 345 thousandths. If there is a number in front, it is 2 and standing for the decimal, 2 and 13 thousandths. And the last one, we have 8 thousandths. There's nothing in front, so we don't say any of that. We just say the number and the name of the last place value position. So that's a little review. All right, to begin, you're going to need to look at page 201 in your textbook. Some of this is also from another book, so some of it won't be in your textbook. This first part is not in your textbook. One strategy that you can use for adding decimal numbers is to align the decimal place values. So you line all of your numbers up according to the decimal place value, and then you just add like you would normally. 7 plus 3 is 10, so remember you have to carry. Don't forget the carrying part. 2 plus 4 is 8, plus 1 more, 2 plus 4 is 6, plus 1 more is 7, and then the 3, and you just bring your decimal down into your answer. Without the decimal in the answer, it is incorrect, because 370 is much different than 37. That decimal place drastically changes the value of your number. All right, so we're going to look at 3 different strategies that were used to solve this problem. Julio rides his bike to school. Julio's mass is 26.79 hundredths of a kilogram. The mass of his backpack is 2.60 hundredths of a kilogram. So we're comparing kilograms here, which is good. We're comparing the same thing. We want to find out his total mass, so we do have to add those numbers. We're going to look at 3 different strategies for doing that. Here is strategy number 1. Sydney uses base 10 blocks. Now remember, with base 10 blocks, it depends on the value of each base 10. So she has decided that this block, the cube, will be worth a 10, the flats will be worth 1, the tenths will be the rods, and the hundredths will be the cubes. This can get fairly difficult, but if you'd like to, you're more than welcome to try doing it this way. So she starts off, she has 2 tens in her first number. Oops. And 6 ones in her first number. So she has 2 tens in the 26 number, because she has 20. She has 6 ones here. She has 7 tenths here. And she has 9 hundredths here. So that's the first number. Here's our second number. She has 2 ones. She has 6 tenths. And then we regroup, just like we would when we are carrying. So what we do then is we take all of those and regroup them. So let's see how we would regroup. We know that these tenths can become a 1, so we've replaced that. And now we count up. So we still end up with 20 tens, or 2 tens. Our ones, now we have 9 all together. Tenths, we have 3, and hundredths, we have 9. And here's the algorithm to show that, which is really what we're doing when we do the algorithm method. This is strategy number 2, and in this case, they have added the numbers as whole numbers, not as decimal numbers, and then they estimated to place the decimal point, which isn't a bad way to do it. It works quite nicely, actually, because you don't have to worry about the decimal at all. So you would start and you would write your numbers, ignoring the decimal. So there is no decimal there whatsoever. Okay, oops. All right, so 9, and here they've taken each place value position and added them. So there's only 2 thousands, so we put the 2 thousands in. Then there is a 600 and a 200, which adds to equal the 800. There's a 70 and a 60, which equals 130, and then a 9, and then they've added those up. So 9 plus 3, 8 plus 1 is 9, and the 2. Then they think, okay, so 26 is pretty close to 20, and 2.6 is pretty close to 2, so my answer should be somewhere around 22. I myself might have gone 25 plus 2, because 26 is closer to 25, which is about 27. Regardless, we know that our answer of these digits has to be close to 22, so our closest is 29, which means then that's where our decimal has to go. 29.39. This estimating is a really good idea to do, even just to check when you've done your work. Does it make sense? Should 26 plus 2 be close to 29? Yep, it should. We're good. And lastly, the third strategy is what we talked about what I showed you right at the beginning, actually. It is also aligning according to the decimal place value. Okay. Oops, sorry, that disappeared. And here they've done it all separately as well, but we're going to just stick to the other way as well. So 26.79 and 2.60. So here they've got, okay, 20, there's no other numbers in the tens place, so 20. 6 plus 2 is 8. 7 plus 6 is $1.30. And 9 plus 0 is 9. And then adding those up. Or you could use the traditional algorithm method. 9 plus 0 is 9. 7 plus 6 is 13. Carry the 1. 6 plus 2 is 8 plus 1 more is 9. 2 plus nothing is 2. And then we just bring down that decimal place and we put it in. So 29.39 or 29 and 39 hundredths. Now please hit the pause button and try these on your own to practice. You, again, remember, can use whichever strategy you find most successful for you. All right, now that you've done your work, let's try our answers. Our first one here, I'm going to use the strategy of ignoring the decimal and just doing the work. And I'm going to look, okay, I've got nothing in the hundreds, so nothing there. I've got a 30 and a 60, which is 90, and I've got a 5 and a 5, which is 10. So altogether, that's going to make it 100. And then I know I've got less than 3 and less than 6, so 3, it's going to be about 1, so my decimal is going to be about there for estimation placement. Or you can use whatever strategy you prefer. B, I'm going to use traditional algorithm method. 1 plus 3 is 4. 1 plus 1 is 2. And I bring down my decimal. 2.4, my final answer. And I'll use traditional as well for this one. I don't prefer the base 10 method. 3 plus 4 is 7. 2 plus nothing is 2. And I bring down my decimal. Remember, you cannot forget your decimal number. Remember, if you have any questions at all, that you must ask. Do not do the work if you are unsure. Make sure you ask some questions. All right, you are going to go on to page 202, numbers 2, 3, 6, and 7, working on adding decimals.